inspire.
Welcome back to Started Now. I'm your host, Jeff Sarris. This is the show where I talk to entrepreneurs to reveal the unexpected paths to entrepreneurship. Today, my guest is Alex Llull. He is a brand new entrepreneur. He actually just lost his job during COVID and the quarantine, but he has done an excellent job of building his personal brand through Twitter and not only creating a digital product that's doing well, but also bringing in recurring paying clients. I think this will be a really good one for you if you are just trying to figure out sort of where you're going next, how you're going to start on your next big idea, because he's an example of someone definitely doing it right. So without further ado, my conversation with Alex Llull. Whereabout are you located then? Because you're in Spain, right?
Yeah, I'm in Spain. I'm in Madrid, which is the capital, the main city.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I've been living here for, 4 or 5 years already. It's a great city. It's super big. Well, I mean, right now is not that much thing going on because, we have coronavirus like anywhere else in the world. But yeah, it's nice. I mean, if you come to Spain, I don't know if you have ever been in Spain, but you should definitely visit.
Yeah,
Madrid.
I've been to Barcelona and actually Mallorca, which is where you're from, or you lived there for a bit?
I was gonna tell you, I'm from Mallorca. I come from Mallorca. I was born there, and I lived there until I was 18. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's a beautiful place. I mean,
yeah, it's awesome, really.
Yeah, the thing that really struck me was like some of the like we stayed in an Airbnb, and the architecture of just how the streets were set up. The Airbnb we stayed in, actually, someone took one of the little sort of like cemented in areas and put shipping containers in there.
Oh.
It was a really beautiful setup, and it was I don't know, it was a great visit when we were there. So it was a long time ago now, but really enjoyed it.
No, it's nice. It's super cool.
Yeah. So why don't we just start with like what you do, and I kind of like to go into like how do you make money in what you're doing now? What does your lifestyle look like in terms of entrepreneurship or job or whatever it is?
Yeah. So until last July, I had a full-time job. I used to work at an advertising agency. I've been working on advertising and on advertising agencies for the past 4 years, 4 or 5 years, more or less. I mean, I finished college and then I went straight to one smaller agency. I was there for around 3 years. And then at the beginning of early 2020, I moved to a bigger international agency. Everything, super cool, big clients, everything is working. But then suddenly, COVID strikes and they decide to close the Spanish offices. When we had one in Madrid and one in Barcelona, actually.
And that was Vice, right?
Yeah, I was Vice Media, which is a huge company, actually. We had offices in New York, in Singapore, I don't know, everywhere in the world. But one of the offices that they decided to close was the Spanish one because, according to them, it wasn't profitable enough, I guess, to keep it open. Yeah. And they decided to fire us. So then I was, like in the middle of the summer, we had a job and I felt like, okay, what should I do? Because for the last maybe 1 to 2 years, I was thinking about doing some business, something on my own, because I always had like this idea on the back of my head, but I never had the chance to put it in motion because I maybe was too afraid or I was maybe too lazy to start doing something. And then suddenly you get fired. So it's like, maybe I can find another job during a pandemic, which is something maybe a bit difficult, or maybe now it's the right time to actually try to build something for myself. It's like the kick in the butt that I need to start building something. So I started working first I felt like, what should I do? What do I want to do? And for my agency days, I mainly what I did was working on account management, which is the person that is in contact with the client on one side, and then internally is the one that manages the project, so to say. And I was super focused on digital. I was working on social media, influencers, all of that kind of stuff. So I thought that maybe I could do that, but for myself, and not like account management, which is like managing clients, but more like on the strategy side, which is one of the things that I really like the most. So basically, I thought, what's the best way for me, like to showcase my knowledge on social media and so on, and attract people. So I decided that I needed to build a personal brand because, I mean, if I'm selling content and social media strategies, I mean, at least I need to have something that backs that up, like, and
Mm-hmm.
I was experimenting a bit. First, I'll try with Instagram. I didn't really feel like, like getting much traction there. Then also I tried a bit of YouTube, but it felt a bit overwhelming, like it's too much going on already at that time. And then I
Right.
started on Twitter, and that was the thing that started getting traction. I started on June. I had like around maybe 200 followers, and right now we are like at 2,200 followers, something like that, which is crazy. Now, I mean, it may not seem that much, but for me it is. And the good thing is that it allows me to bring business to me, actually, because the people that I'm working with, which is people that I'm helping them with content, and they're, like with their content strategies, their social media strategy, I'm basically helping with that. And they all have come through my Twitter. They all have found me on Twitter, send me a DM and say, hey, Alex, I would like to work with you. How can we do it? And, like just schedule a call and send the proposal, and that's it. And we are on business. So that's basically what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I mean, the so I mean, you said 2,000 might not sound like a lot on Twitter, but actually, I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
is because you have 2,000 engaged followers. Like
Yeah.
there's a big difference between just, I mean, there's a lot of accounts that you see that they might have a
Mm-hmm.
million followers, but no engagement. There's nothing
Yeah.
happening on the profile.
Yeah. Exactly.
So when you were building that, then, because that was just this summer. So
Yeah. It
what were
was like,
some of what were
yeah.
some of the first
Sorry.
steps that you were taking?
Yeah, I mean, one of the first things actually was setting, like, making it a personal brand. I mean, not a personal profile, but I wanted to feel a bit like a brand. And one of the first decisions I made was the color thing. If you see
Which I
my
love that.
my Twitter account, everything is branded on with the same color, which is like a super bright orange, yellow. I don't know exactly, like depending on the screen, it looks like yellow or orange, but yeah. So I felt like I needed like this thing to get in front of other people that might be tweeting the same as me. But if you see like the orange spot, that's my profile on the timeline, maybe like you will pay attention. And actually, some
Hmm.
people told me that. I mean, I didn't know what was your handle, your account, but I remember that I need to find like the orange guy, and that was super funny to me, because I said, okay, that means that my branding is working, because if people remember, maybe they don't remember my name, but they remember my color and they associate that color to me, then
Hmm.
the job is done. So that was like, maybe, I guess that was the first decision I made, because yeah, I felt like I needed that. And I also wanted to communicate with visuals besides my tweets, because that's one of the other things that I wanted to take advantage of Twitter, because everybody is writing, but not so many people is using images too. I mean, now more and more, because for example, accounts like Visualize Value from Jack Butcher, which is like one of my main inspiration for this kind of tweeting, is,
Hmm.
like is setting like a trend. But like 3 4 5 months ago, it wasn't that common. And the other decision that I made was like, I need to stick to 1 or 2 colors maximum for my visuals, because on the one side it's easier to recognize that it's a visual that comes from me, and on the other side, like, the constraint helps a lot, like on the creative side, because if I don't have to think about anything else, I mean, I just have to think about what the design is going to be, but I don't have to think about color, about typography, or anything, because that's already set. So yeah, that was like the first decision I ever made, actually.
Yeah, really branding yourself. Like I mean, that's why, honestly, why I reached out. Because as soon as like someone that works with our products, like
Yeah,
reached out and they were like, oh, have you seen this guy? He's doing good stuff. As soon as I saw the
yeah,
colors, the visuals, all of it, I was like, no, I want to talk to him. I want to dive into
yeah.
this, because you do stand out in a great way. And that's something that, like, I think it's easy to miss, because people do what
Mhm.
everyone's doing. So, like you said,
Yeah,
Twitter it's words. So people are posting words, maybe they're sending their Instagram photos there or something.
exactly.
But yeah, as soon as you do something that completely goes against the grain, you can really stand out, which is awesome. I mean, because it
Yeah,
is. quick glance, I know exactly where you are in my feed, and
Yes.
that's brilliant. And I love then, so you mentioned like your profile photo has the color, and then all
Mhm.
the images too. So you disperse images through a lot of what you write. How,
Yeah.
like, sort of, what's your approach there? Like, how much sort of image to writing do you do?
There's not, I mean, there's not really like a set ratio in my head, like 80% images or words. I enjoy doing the images, but sometimes it might take a while because it may seem easy to do, but sometimes like maybe I'm inspired one day and I can do 5 or 6, but then there's one day that I can be for the 2 hours with only one image and it doesn't
Yeah.
work. So I mean, the design, this kind of design work is usually like that, like this kind of creative stuff. So yeah, there's no fixed ratio actually. Like on the one thing that I try to have images everywhere is on my threads. Like whenever I do a Twitter thread, I try that each tweet, or at least almost each tweet, has an image, because that's like another thing that has been working for me in the past, and it's one of the other things that I think helps me stand out there, because like normally a thread is just like tweets with text and nothing else, or maybe they have one image on the first tweet and then nothing else, and then I try to put an image everywhere, because an image that adds context to what I'm saying. And sometimes half of the tweet is on words and the rest is on the image. And if you see one without the other, you won't understand it. But if you see both together, then it's when it takes form in your head. And that's one of the other things that I've been experimenting a lot, and I'm having a lot of fun actually writing the Twitter threads actually.
Yeah, and doing that with those images, like you can scroll through your profile and it's almost like a blog feed. It's almost like you're on a website because you see all these images and you'd be like, "Oh,
Yes.
I'm looking for this one that I remember from before. Like let me
Mm-hmm.
look for the one with the Twitter thief on the cover on
Yeah.
the image or whatever it is," which
Exactly.
yeah, I really like that. I am, and I know your thing is sort
Mm.
of stealing from others, remixing,
Yeah.
and going further. So I'm totally going to be stealing the color approach. I've already been sort of
Please.
figuring some
Yeah,
things
dude.
out for me. Yeah, it's
I'm super like on that mindset that, I mean, I say stealing, but it's not really stealing. I'm
oh
not
yeah,
stealing, because one thing is stealing and one thing is copying. I mean, copying is bad, but stealing is good. I mean, everyone
hmm
steals, even if you don't even notice. Because actually, you mentioned on our Twitter conversation the "Still Like an Artist" book,
hmm
which is a brilliant book. It was one of the main inspirations actually behind my stealing mindset. And he says a quote something like, "When you get rid of the burden of trying to be original, then everything gets easier." Like everyone is trying to be original. Don't be original. Just take a bit of this idea, a bit of the idea, put it together, and add your own like personal flair, and everything will work. And actually, that's how creative work works. I
oh
think.
yeah, yeah. On the outside, I think people think that it's just this burst of inspiration, something
Yeah.
completely new. But I mean, there's nothing really new. It's
No.
all building upon the past. Whether it's creative or even science and like
Yeah.
mathematics and everything builds upon other people's work. So
Hmm.
it's something to actually like respect and appreciate that. Yeah, steal like an artist. Like go out and find what you love. Figure out how you can take from all these different places, smush it
Yeah.
together, and make it into your own thing.
Yeah, and don't try to hide it. Actually, I mean, there is no shame at all on stealing. I'm actually, a lot of times when I see like maybe a tweet style that I like, or something like, or something similar, I something even I leave a comment and I say I'm gonna steal this. Like I just say it to the author, and almost like 99.99% of people say please do. Like, because I mean, I know. I mean, most of people know that I'm not going to copy them. I'm just going to get inspired and use the thing that they are using on my own, adding my own touch. So yeah, that's
Yeah, and
that's
that's an ego boost too, because like people
yeah,
might be like, "Oh, I don't want to tell because I don't want anyone to know." But
yeah,
you're connecting with that person in a way that others aren't, because you're just telling them like what you're doing is awesome. Like
yeah,
I'm going to swipe it and make my own version of it, and yeah, it's
exactly.
really smart. Like everything you're doing there is great.
Yeah,
And you also have an ebook that you're
yeah.
selling. So I want to dive into the business, the consulting side too. But first, I just
Mhm.
wanted to let everyone know about the ebook.
Yeah, that was my second attempt at building a product. The first one was like when I had maybe 200, 300 followers on Twitter. I did just like on Notion. I built like a spreadsheet on Notion, And then it was just like a bunch of tools and things that help you for content on social media, stuff like that. Because I realized that I had a lot of bookmarks there, and I think I need to do something with those bookmarks because it was driving me crazy. Like I had a folder with like maybe 80 bookmarks, and everything was like tools or stuff like that, like for content. So I decided to put it together and to put it on Notion, and then just upload on Gumroad for free. I mean, you don't need to. It's like on the pay what you want sort of business thing. And yeah, just I published on Twitter, and people started downloading, and even some people have paid money for it. I mean, I think today, I mean, as for today, it has done already $50 or $60, which is super nice because
Nice.
it's just people feeling that it's useful, and they decide to find $5, $10, $2. I mean, which is
Yeah.
super cool. And then one of the things that I decided to do for the Twitter Thief ebook, it was because there was one thread. It was like one moment that propelled my growth on Twitter, which was one thread that was called "Steal Their Style" or something like that, and it was about a recap of some of the best tweeting styles, tweet formats that I saw. And I just put it there. Like the first image was like a guy stealing like with a bag and a Twitter logo, and it says something like "Steal Their Style," and then it was like 5 or 6 tweets, each one with one style, and it was like a screen capture of the tweet that I really like. But I added my color, my brand color as a background, so it would like be like a piece of my content. And then I don't know how, like I posted, and then it got like 15 or 20 likes, and then I went to sleep, and then on the next day when I woke up, it was great. It was at 1,000 likes or something like that, and I was like, what the fuck? My phone was going crazy, and it ended up being, I mean, and as for today, is my most popular piece of content. It has like 205. I don't know how much. It's super crazy impressions. 2,000 likes, over 600 or 700 retweets, and it got me from 300 followers to 900 followers in one day, which was crazy.
Yeah.
And then since it was like this stealing theme behind, I tried to do 2 more threads with this stealing theme, and one was about stealing ideas, and the other one was about stealing followers. And I realized that it was like this common theme, and actually these threads became quite popular on my timeline. So I decided to package all of these 3 ideas together and just like expand on them and build an ebook, which is the Twitter Thief, and it's basically a recap of these 3 threads, but like super expanded. It has like 34 pages, something like that. And it's just me talking about how you can steal ideas from Twitter, not only ideas, you can steal ideas, followers, and styles. And it's like one of the easiest ways to kickstart your Twitter growth. And yeah, that was like the idea behind it. And it all started with one thread, and now it has become an ebook. And actually, it has made almost $1,000 in sales for as per today, which is
That's awesome.
super crazy, because I didn't expect it at all to work so good. And actually, a lot of people have told me that I should increase the price because they think it's too cheap and so on. So today actually, I published that I will be increasing the price after December 1st, and a few more sales came in, and it feels super good to have built something that I wrote actually 2 or 3 months ago. And then I just tweet about it right now, and maybe I made $50 or $60 just by tweeting, because it's something that I put maybe 1 week or 2 weeks of effort, but that's it. Like you're selling a product, which is something that is based on your skill, and then you are just making money just by tweeting, which is super nice.
Yeah, definitely. And I think because you mentioned the stealing being something that worked across these 3 threads, and then for the brand of the ebook, and I think that is part of the brilliance, is you packaged it in a way like sort of like this ninja, this thief, whatever, like this guy that's running away, and then immediately people can relate to it in a way that's even deeper than the text, because it has this vibe to it, which I think is just killer. And then you priced it very low. It's at only like 10 or 15 depending on the purchase now, right?
It's like $10 only the basic ebook, and then $15 with a Twitter thread template, which is a thing that I built on a spreadsheet. And my tweets from July until September or something like that all of my tweets for people, like to copy, to steal, to remix, to do whatever they want. They have all of my tweets there on a spreadsheet because they can take it and they can do whatever they want with it. So yeah, that was the idea.
Yeah, really smart. And I think it's going to be great too once you raise the price, because this is something that is forever valuable. I mean, it's not, this isn't a certain time on social media where like, oh, this will work for a month. It's like your entire model is giving value to people, like actually giving people what they want. And then in return, they follow, they engage, they share, and do all the things. So yeah, it's timeless info. So I think it's awesome that you have that out there. Are there any other products that you're considering yet in terms of like Gumroad, like digital type build once, sell twice
it's
approach?
one of the things that I want to explore further, like on this 2021, because I see a lot of potential. Like as you said, like creating something and then selling it one and twice, three times on the internet without you needing to do any more work. It's like a mind-blowing concept. I mean, it's super obvious, but until you realize it, it's not that obvious,
Yeah, so, until you make that first dollar,
exactly.
first, like, any sort of income from it, then that's when it's like, oh wait, this is real. This is something. Exactly. Like we know it and like conceptually, but yeah, there's a difference once the money starts coming in.
Yeah, so I haven't yet like a super clear idea, but I have a few ideas of what I want to do like next, and I want to do something a bit bigger. I don't want to build write another ebook or something like that. I want to do something special, probably with Notion, because it's the tool that I use every day for my stuff. And I don't know, few ideas going on there, but for sure, like early next year, I will be releasing something new on that area, and always tied to social media and content, which is like my main area of expertise. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And for anyone who doesn't know, who's listening, what is Notion, and what are the things that you can do with it?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can do almost everything actually by now in Notion. It's like this tool that you can make it a spreadsheet, but at the same time you can write. It's like Google Docs, Google Sheets, and a few more things all packaged together. And it's super nice. I'm using it every day for like for work and for personal stuff too. So it's super useful. I recommend like people checking it because it's like a productivity tool, super useful if you are used to working with digital productivity stuff.
Yeah, very cool. So onto the consulting part a little bit. How did you bridge that gap? Because you're not really, from what I've seen, I might be wrong, you're not really pushing your consulting or selling, like marketing it at all. How did you find that those first few people sort of knew to reach out to you, and how did the sale go? How did you sort of bring them in?
It actually was a bit weird because I had the idea of doing some consulting work, but I didn't know exactly how to put it. I didn't know if I should put like maybe build a landing page or something. And then suddenly, like one guy, which is my first client, the first person I ever worked with, just reached out to me and said, "Hey man, you have 30 minutes to make a call. I want to ask you a few things." And I jumped into that call without the selling mindset. I was just going to talk to someone because I did it a few times before. I mean, I love that people DM me, and most of the times that people ask me to jump on a call, I do it because I mean that's one of the other things I love being on social media. Like connecting with other people and so on, which is like we are doing, you and me. Like we don't know each other at all, but we are here just talking, and I really enjoy it. So yeah, he just told me that to jump on a call, and we talked a bit about Twitter, about social media and so on, because he's doing a lot of social media stuff, but for influencers. And he told me, "Hey man, I really like your content. I think you could. Do you think you could help me with my own content and so on?" I said, "Yeah, sure. Why not?" And he said, "Why don't you send me like a quote and we can figure something out?" And then I said like, "Okay, then now I need to build a consulting business because I didn't even know what to offer to him." So yeah, like that's one of the things that my background on advertising really helped me, because I was handling a lot of sales stuff on my 9-to-5 job. So I more or less knew what to offer him and more or less knew what to do, but it caught me by surprise. So he was the first that I started working with, and then right now it's just people reaching out to me on DMs. But last week I built a quick landing page for people. Like I just linked it on my Twitter profile, and yeah, like there is like my full service thing, but I'm super open to what the what the other person needs. Like I know I can help them, I can build a full strategy for them, but I can also just maybe give a small roadmap for 1 month or stuff like that. So I'm still actually defining the whole like this whole scope
Oh
of my
yeah.
consulting business, because I don't really know where we go from here. But for now, it's cool. It pays the bills, which is the main reason why I'm doing it, and it's
Uh-huh.
super cool. I didn't expect to be doing this 3-4 months just after losing my job, because it's a great feeling actually, because now I am the one that is setting like my own schedule, and more or less I'm working the times that I want, and that's super cool.
Yeah, when you're doing things right and you're really you're giving, like you're not asking people for anything. You just kept
Yeah,
giving and strategically giving. And yeah, it ends up coming back to it pays back in the long run. It's awesome. So one of the
always.
things, yeah, you have experience working with client relations, but something that scares
Mhm.
people is always pricing. I mean, like we've been doing what we're
Yeah.
doing for over a decade now, and pricing is still the worst. How did you sort of with your first personal client? How did you approach pricing? What did you do to figure that
Yeah.
out?
It was super scary actually, because and it happened to me before when I was trying to sell the ebook. The deciding on a price, it was super scary, because I felt like I had like this imposter syndrome of like, why should people pay something to me? And even if I know that what I wrote was valuable, because I know it was at least that it can bring you a bit of value, it was super scary to set the price and to tell people, okay, you should pay this for my knowledge. So this thing was at a bigger scale, because it was a bigger project, and the first time I typed something, so I came down with a price, and I said, okay, this price is cool, but I'm sure I put it down because I'm a bit scared of doing it. So I put it at 20% more,
Oh,
just in
nice.
case. Yeah. So I
That's
said,
smart.
and I sent it, because I said, I'm sure that the price I came up with is lower than it should be, because I'm scared.
Absolutely.
So I just like 20% more, and this is the final price.
Yeah. And
And it
was there
worked.
any pushback?
So
Yeah, he
no,
didn't.
no, no, like he was super nice about it, and we made an arrangement. The first month that I worked with him, he paid a bit less, but he compromised to giving me a testimonial, which is super important actually when you are first starting out. And he
Mhm.
gave a super great testimonial with video. It's like almost a 2 minutes video talking about how we are working together and so on, which is super nice. So yeah, that was like, I did like a small discount for this testimonial, and then we are just working right now. Like we have been working together for almost 2 months with this first guy that I'm telling you, and it's
Mhm.
super nice. Like we are forming a relationship beyond working. Like we are actually becoming friends, because we are talking a lot about social media, how he can improve his own business. He has an influencer agency, which is super cool,
Mhm.
and yeah, super cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's great. And building those relations, people I think underestimate the value of relationships. Like a
Yeah.
lot of times it's like, oh, I need to make a sale. Okay, now I need to make another sale. Where really I think more of the attention should be post sale, because that
Mm.
is where we build these really tight connections with people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super important. I learned that also on my previous advertising job, because we needed to have a good relationship with our clients, because they were paying us a lot of money, and we provided a good service. But if you wanted to scale that business, you needed to have a good relationship with the person that is the point of contact, because maybe you won't get more business directly from him and his department, but if you do a good job and you have a good relationship with them, they will recommend you to other departments, or or maybe his boyfriend or her boyfriend works at another company and they are looking for an agency, then they will recommend you, and that's how it works. Like if you are just like overall you're just a nice guy, and
Hmm.
like you treat people nicely, I believe that good things come your way. So that's how I'm trying to navigate the life.
Yeah, for sure. And it really seems like you're succeeding at that. So, someone who is just starting out and say maybe they don't have a business yet, but they're in a similar spot to where you were, what would you recommend that they do? So, specifically with regards to Twitter, how would you say they figure out what their niche is?
I mean, the finding a niche is super hard, because at the
Yeah.
beginning, I was a bit lost too. I mean, I knew I wanted to talk about social media and content and like a bit of strategy, which is like the things I'm doing, but I didn't know how to connect everything. And the way I found the type of content I wanted to do was by posting a lot of stuff, like saying, okay, what I'm having more fun with, what I'm enjoying most. Like, is it doing these threads with the visuals, or is it doing like this kind of platitude tweets? Which maybe sometimes it works, but I didn't really like coming up with this kind of stuff. So I would say that just testing a lot of things, especially on the beginning, it's actually easier because you don't have that much of a bigger audience to that, like they won't say, okay, why are you posting so many weird stuff? So you can test a lot and see what resonates more with you, because it's not that much as what resonates with people, but it also needs to resonate with you because you will be the one producing it. And if you are succeeding, you will be doing that for a long time. And if you don't enjoy it, then you are you are screwed, because it will be hard to do something that you don't like to do for 10, 15 years.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
One of the first things I did was like trying out a lot of different content styles, a lot of different stuff. And also finding 3, 4, 5 people that you can look up to as a mentor. Maybe you can try to build a relationship with them, but at the same time just looking at what they are doing, it can be like a good inspiration. That's what I call like stealing ideas, like the part of stealing ideas, stealing followers and so on. So yeah, it's like finding 5 or 6 people that are doing what you would like to do, because I'm sure that somewhere in the world there's someone that is doing it, and see how they do it and try to replicate that, but as always, like adding your own personal thing.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful advice, and I think that's a good note to close on. So where should we send people to check out everything that you're up to and your products?
Actually, everything is on my Twitter profile. So I have all my links there. I have my personal website, my landing page for consulting services, and also like my Gumroad link is there for if you want to check out the ebook or whatever. Everything is there. So if you go to my Twitter profile, you will find everything there.
Cool. And that's Alex. How do you pronounce your last name?
It's Alex Llull. It's actually a bit difficult to pronounce because it's like from a Catalan side of Spain. So not even Spanish people can pronounce it right. So I gave up on that a long time ago.
Yeah. So if you spell it out just for the listeners.
Yeah, it's like Alex, Llull, and then T and W from Twitter. Like Alex Llull.
Perfect.
Twitter. Yeah, that's the thing.
Sweet. Yeah, well, this was awesome. Like, thanks so much for taking the time out to do this.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me. It was fun.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of valuable info for people who are really like in it right now, because you've created something great. I mean, you've created your full-time income at a time when you needed it most, and that is awesome.
Yeah,
so yeah,
super good.
Thanks again, and yeah, we'll definitely be in touch.
Thank you. Okay.
Take it easy.
Bye-bye.
I want to thank Alex for joining me on this episode. Be sure to check him out on Twitter. That's AlexYullTW. AlexLlullTW. And that link will be in the show notes, along with his website and his Twitter Thief ebook. So that's Alex Llull. As always, this episode of Starting Now is brought to you by Built. At Built, we help you get started online. Whether you want to start a blog or a business, head on over to built.co. That's BYLT.co to get started. Built, your website, built for you simply. Finally, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, be sure to check out the video version on YouTube, which is my favorite version of the show. I feel like I'm doing things a little different there. Just like Alex with his branding of his social media, I put a lot of effort into the videos, these over-the-shoulder type shots. So definitely check it out. I'd really appreciate it. And if you did it, just let me know. Let me know on Twitter, @Jeff Sarris. And that'll do it for this week. Again, I'm Jeff Sarris. This has been Starting Now, and I'll see you next time.